Hi everyone, today I wanted to show you this headband I made. It's a pattern I came up with to practice my provisional cast on and then Kitchener stitch invisible join, so you get this seamless product that's knitted, obviously. And it could be, this is a headband. You can make it wider to make it into a cowl, or smaller to make it into a little scrunchy for your hair. So I thought I would show you today how I made this, and maybe you could be inspired to do the same for yourself. So to make this, you'll need a set of knitting needles, a crochet hook, a yarn needle, and yarn. Obviously this is bulky weight that I used, and it is Loops and Threads bulky number 5, and it uses a 6mm crochet hook or a 6mm needle. So I'm gonna have to use both, because to do your provisional cast on, what you do is you do a chain of stitches, and then that becomes your foundation. So let's just get started on that. And you'll also need a pair of scissors, obviously. All right. And you will also need some scrap yarn. I forgot to mention that. So to start with, take your, in this case I'm using 4 weight, doubled up to make it bulky, because I don't want to waste my bulky yarn. So to start with, you make a knot here, and this is for visual reference later on. Make a knot and then a slip knot. So anyone who crochets knows how to do this. And then with your crochet hook, okay, make the slip knot. So you crochet about five chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then you take your needle. So the needle you'll be using, this is my 6mm needle, and what you do is you crochet around the needle. So you place your yarn behind your needle, and you just pick up the loop the way you would normally, make another chain. Okay, and then this becomes your first stitch on your needle. Then you place your yarn behind again, and you do it again, and you leave this loop on the needle. Okay, so you just continue this way. You just keep making these chains, right, and they stay on the needle. So that's 3. We're going to make 10 in this case. You can make as many as you want. You can make this as wide as you want to make it into a cowl, or skinnier, but you'll see 10 is a nice size. It's not too much, and it'll give you a nice twist. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 4 there. Okay, and we're just going to continue to make 10. Okay, so once you have the number of stitches, remember this is doubled yarn. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What you do is, just to secure this, you just continue making a couple more chains just to finish off the scrap yarn. So we'll just make about 3 here, or however many you want. Whoops. And then once you have however many chains, you just loop this out and bind it off. So now here you have your 10 stitches, and now you're going to add the yarn you're going to use. Okay, so this is my yarn that I'm going to use. This is the bulky yarn. So you just knit the first row, you just knit across. We're going to do 3 rows of stockinette stitch, which is knit, purl, and then knit. Okay, so this is your provisional cast on with your scrap yarn. So as you knit into it, right, This is the first row knit, and you can see as you knit, when you take away your scrap yarn, you're gonna have your live stitches later on to do the Kitchener join, the Kitchener stitch join. But for now, we're just going to continue with our piece. So this is the first row knit. Your second row is purl, so it'll look like this. Okay, then you turn it around and you'll do a third row knit. So after your third row, it's going to look like this. This is your knit row. Now I prefer to use circular needles in all my knitting. You could use obviously you could use flat needles because we're just knitting this flat. You could use straight needles, or circular needles, whatever you prefer, whatever's the right size for your yarn. So on the fourth row, we're going to do, this is the back, we're going to do 3 stitches purl, 4 knit, and 3 stitches purl. And you'll see why. So when you go back on the right side, you'll see you're maintaining your stockinette at the edge. You have a garter stitch in the center, 4 stitches, and then stockinette again at the end. So you continue this way. Now on the right side, you just knit all these stitches. If you want to make this wider, just maintain 3 stitches on each end. Knit purl. In the center, you just knit and you get the garter stitch, and carry on this way. So let's just do a few more rows here. So here you see the pattern that's established. You have 3 in, so on the right side you knit across everything. On the wrong side it's 3 purl, knit, 3 purl. It gives you this pattern. Can't see it from the back, it all looks the same. But in the front you establish this pattern. So you continue knitting this way. I'm going to have directions, written directions, so you could follow that along if you like, and just continue knitting the length you want. So this is another one that I finished with. This, in this case, it's going to be a scrunchie. There's my provisional cast on and the length I made, and I finished off. When you finish off, make sure you do 2 rows of stockinette. So you do your purl and then knit, and then what you're going to be doing with the Kitchener, or you can do it however way you like. But when you finish off, what you're doing with the Kitchener stitch is you're adding a row of knit stitches. So if you just have 2 to end with, and then the one that will interact, that's what it is.